Hey, comic lovers, EMoney, the old man, and Thor the Dog of Thunder here. He spotted the dog's neighbor across the street a second ago, so he was like, what's that? What's going on? Alright, so to give you a little update on Thor, I took Thor out for his walk last week up at McNeely Lake Park, and some progress, because last week was the first time that I was taking Thor down the narrow path and we see another dog coming. Now, usually, whenever this happens, I will stop, pull Thor in for, a tight hug and, wait for the dog to pass. But this time, I didn't do that. I just pulled the leash tight and kept walking. Well, Thor was excited and he wanted to get closer to the other dog, but I saw no aggression, no growling or barking. He just, wanted to get a closer look. So I am counting that as progress for Thor.
He probably just got fed. That's why he didn't want to eat nobody.
Also, Thor and I, we had a moment on the trail.
A moment?
Yeah, because when you get to the end of the trail at McNeely, it's the part where the lake empties out into the creek, right? Mm-hmm. Now, when you get there, like right at where it empties out, you're at the top of a hill. Now, if you want, you can go down to where the creek is, and you can hang around there for a little bit, and then you would head back up the trail the way you came. Now, usually we go down the hill and we hang out by the creek for a little bit. But you know what? I was tired. It was cold. I was ready to get back to the car. So we're at the top of the hill, and I look at Thor, and I say, "Do you want to go down, or you want to head back?" And Thor, as if understanding every word that I said, starts moving back towards the way we came.
It was cold. It was cold.
Yep. So, Thor and I, we just understood each other in that moment, didn't we, buddy? Didn't we?
Probably have equal IQs.
Yeah. Shut up. Unless you think Thor's super smart. All right. So, we have some comic reviews today. It was a big week for Batman last week.
It was the week of the bat.
Yeah, so we have some reviews, we have our comic previews, and I have another movie-ism for you today.
I'm on a roll.
Yeah, I'm using them up. All right, remember, kids, when someone asks you, "Are you a god?" you say yes. This is Back Issues.
Now we're going to get a bunch of phone calls and email. Man.
All right, comic lovers. So before we get started today, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, turn on your notifications, give us a thumbs up, and if you like, leave us a comment. Give us some recommendations or tell us what you think about these comic books.
By now, I think they know all that stuff. I think we might skip that 1 week.
Yeah, we'll see.
All
right, so speaking of things you guys probably already know, the way we do grading on these comic books is we do this on a 5-shield rating system. We give them each 4 scores, 2 scores each, one for writing and story and the other one for artwork. And then we combine those 4 scores together and give it an average overall score. All right, so we have our mentions first for this week. Another thing, probably already know, we don't say honorable mentions because sometimes we might have something bad to say about them.
We could say honorable and honorary mentions.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We won't.
All right. But in any case, whatever we say about them, it's notable. All right. So, what do we have for our mentions this week?
All right. First up. Look at that. All 3 of our mentions this week are from DC Comics.
Oh, all right.
So, first book out we've got is one from DC's Black Label. Mm-hmm. It's from a story that Joe Hill, Stephen King's son, actually originated. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm a big fan of Stephen King and of his son, Joe Hill. Mm-hmm. Joe Hill wrote a book called The Fireman, which was extremely good, post-apocalypse, that kind of story that really has some twist to it that most stories in that genre do not have. Mm-hmm. And he did a book called Horns, which was a movie that I think we both saw. I know I saw it. Was Daniel Radcliffe. And you know, just in general, brilliant. Both guys are brilliant. They have great writing styles. But you got to wonder what goes on up there and think of this stuff. It's kind of scary. But at any rate, Refrigerator Full of Heads, number 2 is one of our mentions.
All right. So in this story, there's a power struggle by different factions over this axe. And it's an ancient axe. And
definitely a magical artifact.
Yep. Then the only thing so far that I can see that it does is that if you decapitate someone using the axe, they don't die. Their head keeps functioning, which I'm not sure why anybody would want that. I mean, most people, they make weapons in order to kill their opponents. So,
well, maybe you just want to continue to torment them.
I mean, that's the best thing I can figure. So, interesting story, curious to see where it goes. The artwork is okay. I think we both gave it 3.
Yes.
Okay. So, it's all right. Nothing to write home about. All right, so Refrigerator Full of Heads, interesting ongoing story. DC Black Label book. It ends up with
3.5 shields rounded up.
3.5 out of 5. All right, next up.
All right, we have Batman number 117. Now, I don't know why you wanted to talk about this one, but I just want you to talk about how this could be the end of the storyline, finally.
All right, so this is hopefully the conclusion to the Batman Fear State story, and hopefully the end of the magistrate peacekeeper occupation in Gotham. The old man and I have said, it was a good story, but it went a little long. So in this issue, Batman is fighting Peacekeeper 01, who has come out of Scarecrow's fear toxin, and Scarecrow has set a bomb of which Miracle Molly is trying to deactivate. Meanwhile, the rest of the Bat family, the Batgirls and the Robins are...
Everybody's in this one.
Yeah, are infiltrating the Peacekeeper headquarters and about to arrest Simon, the ringleader, the architect of the Peacekeeper occupation. And Harley is underneath Gotham attempting to stop Poison Ivy from destroying most of Gotham. Poison Ivy's powers have risen to near God-level power in recent stories, so...
Unfortunately, her mind is going south.
So Harley is trying to talk her down. So I think the story, hopefully this is the conclusion, and hopefully the story ends on a good note, and I'm hoping damn near inspirational. I mean, in 1 or 2 pictures here, I enjoyed it. All right, so hopefully the conclusion to Batman Fear State, Batman number 117, comes in at...
Rounded up also to 3.5 shields.
3.5 shields. All right, and our last mention for this week.
All right, we don't normally get this book. It's Superman, Son of Kal-El, number 5. There's a lot of people talking about this book because they do something that no one thought they would do.
Yep.
So we picked it up, just pure speculation. We do that, but it was all right. It was interesting.
All right, so this is the second Superman, Son of Kal-El, Jonathan Kent, and Superman is running himself really thin. He is trying to do everything. People are calling out for his help, so he's running all over the planet trying to save as many people and stop bad guys as he can. And no one really knows how half human, half Kryptonian DNA works because he's the first of his kind. But apparently there's a limit to what he can do, and he needs to stop and rest. So
I mean, even Superman accepted at some point that you can't save everybody.
Right. So a friend of his, Jay, convinces him to stop and rest, and he actually creates some ear or soundproof headphones for him to block out all of the noise and all the people calling for his help.
I wonder about that. How do you block out from a Superman's hearing?
Well, apparently Jay's pretty smart. So the significance of this issue, you may be asking, is that they reveal that John Kent is actually gay.
Or bisexual, or
I mean, he could be
something.
bisexual. And him and Jay share a kiss on one page. And just after that, John gets back out there into saving people with a smile on his face. So there's the big reveal, the significance of this issue. It's going to be a really key issue for a lot of people, I think. So Superman, Son of Kal-El, number 5. You can see the Pride label up here. It ends up with
3 shields.
3 shields out of 5. All right. So there are your mentions for this week. And now we're going to go into our top 4 because we had a couple of ties this week.
All right. And the ties were for first place and third place. Well, I won last week, so I decided, let's see if I can do 2 in a row. So we decided we were going to play pickup sticks. EMoney never heard of pickup sticks. And it turns out the old man has a steadier hand than I thought he had. And I won again. It's 2 weeks in a row that the old man has gotten to break the ties. So, if you don't like the way I broke them, tough. You play pickup sticks. All right, so coming in at number 4 per the old man, Dark Ages number 3 from Marvel Comics.
All right, so I've been really enjoying this title. So in the first few issues, the world suffers a cataclysmic event. A godlike being underneath the Earth's surface tries to get out from his imprisonment. A couple of heroes go down to try and stop him, and they end up being successful, but they all end up dying. And all of the world is thrown into the Dark Ages, hence the title. And there's no power, no electricity or anything. But the heroes of the world manage to stop, a apocalyptic event from doing too much damage by uniting the world, by saying, there's a better way. It doesn't have to be this way. We don't have to fight over resources. We can find a way to carry on. And they end up forming a, somewhat of a fragile peace around the world. And they even set up a network using the Earth's telepaths. So a power is rising up in Europe that is trying to disturb the peace and cause another apocalyptic event. And they've been busy for a long time without the heroes' notice. So the heroes send Quicksilver out as a scout in order to find out what's going on. And unfortunately, things don't go as planned. And
Do they ever?
No.
Really? Do they ever go as planned? No.
And Quicksilver gets mind controlled, and
That's bad.
Yeah, and he goes back to the heroes. And one of the interesting things about a non-canon story like Dark Ages is, if they want to kill a character or two, they can do that.
Oh, there's people falling right and left in this story.
Yeah. So some bad things happen in this issue. Deaths happen. And it's a shame, but, like we said, it's non-canon. So I've been really enjoying this. I think we gave the artwork 3s overall.
Mm-hmm.
So not the best artwork, but it's okay. We probably would have gone higher if it had the artwork been a little bit better. But still, great stuff. I've really been enjoying the story. So Dark Ages, number 3, our number 4 for this week, ending up with
4 shields after being rounded up.
4 shields. All right, next up.
All right, next up, one of this channel's all-time favorite books, Space Masters. I'm going to miss saying that. Number 9, and it's from Humanoids.
All right, so Space Masters, this is the conclusion to this story arc. And we have our guy, Robertson, at the helm here. And, just
artist.
Yeah, beautiful artwork in this issue as usual. And the Space Bastards are waging a war on a company who is trying to roll out a teleportation network, which is going to render the space bastards obsolete.
Can't have that.
Nope. So they wage war on the CEO and his security detail, and the space bastards unite under their goal, their same interests, common interests. There you go. All right. So great stuff. Great conclusion to the story. The end of the issue, they say that, let's see here, not enough bastards in your life, and they tease a new title, Space Bastards Special Delivery. Now, I was excited about it when I first saw, but then I looked down and see featuring artwork from Simon Bisley. And then I thought,
Well, the sad thing about our buddy Bisley is he's a very popular artist.
Why?
Well, he did quite a few issues of Lobo. He did a lot of the British comic Judge Dredd, and his artwork was better in those stories. But when he works for Humanoids, it's like, I'm gonna do painted work, and I'm gonna
collect the paycheck.
So, at any rate, I don't know.
I mean, he did like 2 issues in a row, and a lot of people almost stopped getting Space Bastards because of those issues.
The people that I talked to in the comic book world that liked the book, I would say half of them stopped.
They liked Space Bastards, not those issues, right?
Right. They liked Space Bastards, drawn by Robertson.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the Bisley issues came out, they stopped getting it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the number of copies of this book the comic book world got made me sad because it was so low compared to what it was in the first group of comics. But such is the nature of the business, I guess. Now, what I want to know is, this book that you, Special Delivery, that you saw was advertised to come out next
January.
Is that a one-shot? Is that the end of Space Bastards? Because I'll miss the title personally.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And anybody who wants to defend Bisley and say something like, well, let's see your artwork, and I'll just be like, do you see me drawing comic books?
No, thank God.
No. I know I don't have a talent for it, but I can recognize other people's talent, and I'm just wondering why Bisley is in the business. I'm sorry. All right. So that's enough about Space Bastards. What do we have next?
All right. Another book that has been in our top 3, top 4, whatever, almost every issue. In fact, I think every issue is Not All Robots, number 4 from AWA. Now, this was a book that, when it first came out, the manager of comic book world, Jacob, recommended that I pick the book up. Thank you, Jacob. It's been a good run.
Mm-hmm. All right, so this is issue number 4 and what we believe is a 5-issue arc. So the tensions between humans and robots are at an all-time high. The company who manufactures robots have come out with a new Mandroid model where the robots look almost exactly like humans.
And I'm sorry. One of the main human characters in there discovers that his next door neighbor has a mandroid created that looks just like his own wife. That would be creepy.
So the old model robots are being laid off from their jobs.
Well, they don't have any need for them anymore. You've got human looking robots that can do everything they can do.
Right. And any other story involving robots like this, usually they would either just be decommissioned and melted down, or just put into storage or something
after they were turned off.
Right. But apparently in this story, the robots are sentient enough that they're laid off just like any other employee would be,
and they got nothing to do.
Yeah. So tensions are high there, and also the family that we've been following, the mother kind of lays it out for their robot. I think his name is Snowball. And says, we've stopped locking our doors now because why live in the illusion that that protects us at all. You could come in and kill us anytime you want.
And it pretty much says, please don't.
Yeah.
Don't kill us.
Mm-hmm. All right, so the tension between humans and robots are reaching a breaking point in this issue.
I think we need to bring in Magnus Robot Fighter. He'll straighten everything out.
All right, so Not All Robots, number 4. Our number 2 for this week.
It came in at 4 shields, no rounding involved.
All right, great artwork, and same people who brought you Redemption. So good stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so number 1.
Number 1 on the hit parade is a Batman book. I mean, you know we had to get a Batman book in here somewhere. And it is another Black Label book. We seem to like the Black Label books. Or the Elseworlds, or the What Ifs.
Yeah.
You know, all that stuff's good stuff. But anyway, this is number 3 of Batman versus Bigby, a Wolf in Gotham.
All right, so Batman has believed up to this point that Bigby, or the giant wolf, has been responsible for a lot of the stuff going on in Gotham lately. But a attack on Gotham, like simultaneous explosions, happen. And I think he concludes that Bigby is not responsible, but he's not been completely cleared of everything yet. Batman, he sends out his Robins to help in all of the explosion points. He has like a squadron or platoon of Robins pretty much at this point. You know, this is Black Label, so you know they can do that. So he goes after Bigby, you know, still not completely believing that he's clear of everything. And, you know, again, you know, things don't go as planned.
Once again, do they ever?
Yep. And, you know, we're still at that stage where, you know, the heroes fight each other at first when they first meet because, you know, they just can't help it. They have to fight.
So you're convinced that Bigby's going to be a hero?
I mean, I hope so. I mean, he doesn't seem like he's the bad guy that Batman suspects he is just yet. So they're still at that fighting stage. Batman versus Bigby, a Wolf in Gotham, number 3. Our number 1 for this week.
With 4 shields.
4 shields out of 5. All right, so pick these up at your local comic book shop if you haven't already. So what do we have going on for this week?
All right, so because of Marvel's delays, they've gotten way behind on a lot of titles. Almost every week recently, we've been getting twice, maybe 3 times as many DC books as Marvel books.
Well, we do get a lot of Batman.
Well, that's true. That's true. But this week, we actually get 1 more Marvel book than we do DC's. And unfortunately for the wallet, we get a lot of both.
Okay.
And Marvel has 4 number 1 new titles coming out, which are Black Panther, Hawkeye, Kate Bishop. The timing on that is amazing. Hulk number 1. Anytime Hulk gets a number 1 of an ongoing series, it seems to heat up. And a Star Wars Life Day number 1, which could be a one-shot, but it looked interesting. It looks like it's got the original characters in it from episode 4. So.
Isn't Life Day the thing they celebrated in the Star Wars Holiday Special?
Sure. Okay.
Okay, that could be bad. All right, so
that's DC.
All right.
Or, I'm sorry, that's Marvel. Also, there's Thor. We've been loving Thor. In DC, you've got Batman Reptilian number 6, which is, I think, the last of that storyline. You also have, of course, Detective Comics. And you have DC versus Vampires number 2.
Ooh,
that was a good
yeah.
one. Then you have a book that I never thought I would say that we were going to get on a regular basis, because we don't get Spawn.
All right.
Don't really care. It's okay, but when a book's put out 300 or 400 issues and you haven't read very many of them, it's kind of hard to find a good jumping in spot. But when they put out Gunslinger Spawn, that was a good jumping on point, and I thought the character was great. So number 2's coming out.
Okay.
And one for you, buddy. One for you. The Orville Artifacts number 2.
That was a good one. All right, so there's our picks for this week. Check them out at your local comic book shop. All right, so what do you say we put our coats back on? And
Coats? I'm getting the gloves and a toboggan or something. It's cold.
All right, I have a new movie-ism to show you. Let's head back up into the garage with Thor. All right, comic lovers, back out here in the garage with Thor.
Back out here in the cold
Yep.
garage with Thor.
Well, luckily we're out of the wind at least. All right, so I have a new movie-ism here for you. Now, you remember a couple weeks ago I did the Han Solo? Mm-hmm. Hero comes back after he says he's out. Well, today I have the Indiana Jones.
You're on a Harrison Ford kick or something?
A little bit, yeah. So, any thoughts on what the Indiana Jones is?
He takes a gun to a knife fight? I don't know.
I mean, you're in the ballpark. I think we're thinking of the same scene here.
Okay.
All right. So, definition of the Indiana Jones is killing the badass-looking guy without even breaking a sweat.
That's what I was thinking.
And it goes back to the scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark, and the crowd clears, and you see the guy all in black with the giant scimitar. And Scimitar. And I actually feel bad for the actor because my understanding was that, he had been rehearsing and he had been, learning how to use his sword, and he was all excited to do this big fight scene with Harrison Ford.
It was a fight scene.
So Harrison Ford, apparently he had been sick at this point. Like, I think he had malaria or something.
Yeah, he was sick during that movie.
And he looks to Spielberg and he says, "Why wouldn't I just shoot the guy?" So they summed up that scene, and he just pulled out his gun and just shot the guy.
Classic.
Yeah, it was classic, but I just felt bad for the guy. So that's essentially what the Indiana Jones is, and there's been lots of examples of that in other movies. Another example was in Unchained with Jet Li. Very beginning of the movie, his boss, master, whatever, takes the collar off of him. He says, "Kill him." And this, big, giant-looking guy who's won 20 fights or something, and he looks all big and mean, and he yells, and this happens. Another example, this one a lot of people know, in the beginning of Troy. It always happens near the beginning of the movie. Beginning of the movie Troy with Brad Pitt, Achilles. He's, the two kings bring forth their champions and say, you win, we're gonna go home, and I'll admit
lay it
defeat.
all out on this one-on-one fight.
Yeah, and this big giant looking guy,
big dude,
big scary looking guy. He's like, "Ah!" And he throws 2 spears at Achilles, and Achilles runs at him, and he doesn't even have his shield by the time he reaches him, and he just kind of sidesteps him and does this. And then, finally, we're tying into comic books here on this one. At the beginning of the second Thor movie, Thor: The Dark World.
Let's talk about you, fool.
Did you know you had 3 movies? Did you know that? All right, so at the beginning of Thor: The Dark World, this big stone giant-looking thing, he comes, up over the hill while Asgard is battling this other faction, and he knocks one. Hey, you're not in the camera. You're not in the camera, buddy. All right, so he can rest a little bit, and Thor comes up to him and says, "I accept your surrender," and the guy laughs at him, and then Thor does this.
Anyone else?
That's an uppercut.
Mm-hmm. All right, so there are your examples of the Indiana Jones, making a fool out of someone who thinks they're badass. All right.
You think you're badass? Do you think you're badass? Do you?
Well,
do you?
I hope we never have to find out. Right, buddy?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Back Issues. So we got Thanksgiving coming up tomorrow, so be safe tomorrow. If you're watching this on Wednesday, of course. Also, later today, we're going to have our premiere episode of our Hawkeye reaction videos. Yeah. So it's a 2-episode premiere, so it's going to be a long one. So stay tuned for that. I'm pretty excited about it. The old man, following his rule, his tradition, not seen any of the previews.
I know that it's Hawkeye and I guess his daughter.
Well, I was actually amazed at how little he knew, which is a good thing, because a few weeks ago he asked me, is it Jeremy Renner or is it just the new Hawkeye? So that told me he had not seen any of the previews yet. So, he's gonna, go into this with fresh eyes, not knowing anything.
You don't jump for anything, do you? I'm not jumping. Go give it to me.
All right. So, I said it last week. I'll say it again. If you're deep frying the turkey, make sure it thaws first.
Or send us the video.
If you're watching this on Wednesday, it should be thawing right now. Okay? All right. We'll see you guys next time. Happy Thanksgiving. Excelsior.
Well, like EMoney just said, from EMoney, the old man, and Thor, the hungry god of thunder, y'all have a good Thanksgiving.